So where you can implement your process or interface, we can say. So those interface with the resources which are required for implementing that interfaces will be there in the Boomi itself. So just we have to utilize them, and just we have to know the operation of each resources, and where we can just drag and drop it and drag according to requirement, and we can just implement those. So even why we call it as iPass tool, because within the URL itself, your resources, your project will be, we can develop anything at the platform which are provided by the Boomi. So let me take you to there are some on-premises tools also. Tools in the sense applications combined to the Boomi, Oracle Service Bus, IBM Integration Bus, TIBCO, Web Methods. There are similar tools which are there in the Boomi, but those are not as much as effective as the Boomi, because Boomi is the one of the topmost tool used for integration purpose. So when we are using the Boomi, we can connect this Boomi to the various applications such as Salesforce, SuccessFactors, NetSuite, Workday, SAP libraries, and
Pankaj.
yeah.
Pankaj, so sorry for the interruption. This is Satish, and I can't.
Sorry, your voice is breaking.
Hello. I'm not sure whether it's only from my end.
Hello.
I can't see you clearly. Is this only from my side? Can anyone please help me?
I'm able to hear and see clearly. I think there's a problem with some internet from your side.
There is a lot of background noise as well. I think other than Pankaj, rest can mute. I think it will be more clear here.
I think this Pankaj voice is not very clear.
So Satish, I can see the screen and I also hear him. You want to drop in and join back again? Would that help?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll reconnect and I'll.
Okay, let's Pankaj, just wait for 30 seconds and we'll start. Yeah.
Sure.
So Pankaj, before you get started, are you saying about these adapters are already available with Boomi, or it's all about web services or REST-based integration?
So yeah, in Boomi we do have standard connectors. We call it as connectors. So they are already available. There is no need of downloading anything, and everything will be there in the Boomi itself.
Let's continue. Satish is here. Let's continue. Satish is
Sure.
here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. And you, Satish?
Yes, Satish.
Okay, so we just carry on. So let's talk about when does this Boomi comes into the picture. So let's just say, let's just go back into the 90s. If you go to the 90s, if any organization, if let's just say I have a company and I want to store my data into the database. At the time we used to have databases. So if I want to store the data into the database, I used to take care of database and all. So later this database are being categorized into the different forms. Let's just say CRM, HCM, ERP tools. These are different types of categories we have in the market. So CRM in the sense customer relationship management. So these types of management deals with the customer's data. So these customers' data have been saved into the database, but they have more categorized the database into the, like if we are dealing with the customer's data, we will be going to the CRM tools, and one of the examples for CRM tools is Salesforce. So Salesforce has created their database so that it can be more suitable for the customer's data. So, and for them, the backend where they are storing data is the same database. And for the HCM tool, human capital management, or HRM tool, human resource management, they are also the same. They stores the data about their employees. And NetSuite, ERP management, enterprise relationship management, it will be dealing with the invoices, purchase orders. So these types of data comes under into the ERP tools. So main example for the ERP tools is NetSuite. So the backend of each tools we can see is database. So when I have an organization and I am dealing with the customer's data, and there are a lot of heterogeneous data present in my Salesforce, and I need to increase my productivity so that I can see how many customers I am dealing with, so that I can increase the productivity according to their needs. So I need those types of data. So in order to filterize that data, manipulate that data, or validate that data, we can't do that in Salesforce itself. So even though Salesforce, SuccessFactors, they have their integration tools in it, but they are not as much as effective as the Dell Boomi. So when the data is present in the Salesforce and my client needs the data that's to be placed in the SFTP or SFTP, FTP, which we call it as Secure File Transfer Protocol. So in order to transfer the data from Salesforce to SFTP, we can't do it directly. So we, in the middle of those two tools, we need some middleware tool, which we call it as Dell Boomi tool, which will, when it comes into the picture. So what this Dell Boomi tool is, it will fetch out the data from the Salesforce, and according to our client need, what type of data he needs. So after doing data manipulations, data validations, and after doing those things, after transforming and validating, we have to place the data into the SFTP. So we will be placing the data into the SFTP using Dell Boomi. So here, where this Dell Boomi comes into the picture. So not only for integration purpose, if we want to provide any services such as REST web services or SOAP web services, or even if you want to provide any APIs also, we can do using this Dell Boomi tool. So when this web services comes into the picture, if you want to integrate the data between the web-based applications, so then we can fetch out the data from those web-based applications and we can transfer it to anywhere where we want. So this is what Dell Boomi deals with here. So coming to the next slide, iPaaS tool advantages. So Dell Boomi has simple UI and no coding implementation is there. So when you go to the Dell Boomi, there will be a less coding, about 5% of coding will be there in the Dell Boomi. And in the coming days also, that 5% is going to be eradicated from the Dell Boomi. And if you go to just see the UI, by seeing itself, you will be coming to know how each and everything is going to happen over here. So supports hybrid integrations such as cloud to cloud, cloud to on-premises, on-premises to on-premises. So let's take the example for cloud to cloud. So we have an application such as Salesforce. Salesforce stores their data in the cloud. Why they are going to the cloud is like cloud is providing the maintenance charges in the cloud are very less, and where we can pay for the things what we are utilizing, and backup of the data will be available in the cloud, and usually the maintenance cost and everything will be very much lower than we compare to the on-premises one. So everybody is going to the cloud now. Even if you see that Gmail, the photos, everything will be connected to the cloud, and where you can find that your photos have been uploaded into the cloud, and whenever you want, you just back up the photos from there. So cloud to cloud type of integrations can be done using the Boomi. So cloud, if the data is being fetched out from the Salesforce, which is in cloud application, and if you want to integrate or send the data from the Salesforce to the NetSuite, which is also in cloud application. So in order to integrate the data between the two cloud applications, you can do using the Dell Boomi. And what is on-premises? On-premises in the sense, if any organizations have their own database, they have set up their own database. So if you want to operate the data, or if you want to integrate the data between that organization or to the any cloud application, you can do using that Boomi tool. And Boomi to and on-premises to on-premises, from local on-premises in the sense local database, which is there in your some local disk, which you have implemented in the local disk, and if you want to operate that data, operate in the sense integrate the data between on-premises to on-premises, you can do using the Dell Boomi tool. So local installations, and if you want to use the Dell Boomi tool, there is nothing you have to install in your personal computer or laptop, I can say. Thus, you have to give the URL, and you can easily operate the Dell Boomi tool, which is a cloud-based, and it will be providing us the platform over there. You can easily implement your project. So coming to the no need or dependent on the third-party APIs, as Boomi provides API management. So when coming to the, if you are providing any services or APIs, application program interfaces, if you are providing any of the services, if you want to manage those APIs, managing in the sense, what we call it managing. So like if I have provided one service and anybody can hit that service or consume that service, that won't be possible. I will be providing that security and how the request should be there and throttling limit, and those all comes into the API management. So there is no dependency in the Boomi to depend on the other third-party applications, so that he can provide us those type of policies. So within the Boomi, we have API management from where we can secure our services by throttling limit and all, how our request should be. So within the Boomi, we can do that. So Boomi, elements of Boomi. So we have master data hub over here, MDM, we call it as MDM, master data management or master data hub. So let's just say if I am having an organization and there will be some trusted information. So all that trusted information I will be storing in the MDM or master data hub, and that can provide the access to all other organizations. So all the sensitive data which I have placed as a master data in master data management, that will give the information all the organization and what does this organization do. So we can easily integrate the data by using the master data management. So if you see here we can see that we can integrate, exchange, mediate, flow, hub. We just know about master data hub. So integrate application and data integrations. Application and data integrations in the sense, Salesforce is an application, NetSuite is an application, SuccessFactors is an application. So in order to integrate the data in between those types of applications, we can do that. Data integrations we can find this. So coming to the flow. So what is this flow? This is the advanced feature of the Boomi, which is required. So this is the advanced feature of the Boomi, which is required to implement the applications within the Boomi. So if you want to implement any applications in the Boomi, you can easily implement using the flow, which will be providing you the UIs and how your application should be look like. So everything you can do using the flow. So mediate. So mediate, API design and management. So I have told you about the API management and design. So if you are providing any service, and if you want to protect the service so that no one can use that, only the authorized persons who are the authorized clients, my authorized client only can consume that service. So we call it as API design and management. Those types of configurations comes under API design and management. B2B and management, EDI management. So B2B in the sense business to business. So if I am having an organization and there are two more partners are there, if I am doing any transactions or anything coming to my organization, so my partners should know about those transactions. So we can easily do that B2B integrations, business to business. So when I am doing any transaction, those whatever the updates are there, that can be that simultaneously those updates will be coming to know by your partners who are there in your organizations. EDI, electronic data interchange. So EDI is one of the we can say is data. There will be one format, one type of formats in the data, EDI data. So in Boomi we also deals with the EDI data, EDI type of data. So how do we get login into the Dell Boomi? So here you can see platform.boomi.com is a simple URL. With that URL you can just get login into your Boomi platform. So you have to provide email and a password, and by providing the email and password you just get into the login to the Boomi. So after that, life cycle of any project or any interface if you want to implement. So there is in Boomi we have a life cycle of any project is built. First we have to build that project, and after we have to deploy that project, and after we have to manage that project. So in build we will be implementing, a developer can implement their project using the shapes and components we have over there. So those types of implementation comes under build. So deploy, when you want your project your project can be consumed for the real-time processes, or it can, if you want all the resources of your project to be used for the real-time process, we have to deploy our process. So second, after deploying and executing, so if you want to manage or manage in the sense whether my project has been not executed, or it is successfully executed, or it is failed. So just for managing all the resources over your project, you can do it using the manage tab. So you can see here build, deploy, manage. So this is our life cycle of our any project which we are implementing. Coming to the next one, so how does this Boomi console will looks like? So if you are implementing any process, so you can easily, I have told you there will be no coding over here, so you just have to drag and drop everything. So I will show you one sample project that how we have to do that and how can I send the data. So next one is nothing else in this PPT. So now I will show you how we can integrate the data using the Boomi tool. So just open the Chrome and just give the title platform.boomi.com. So so if you see that this console will be coming up when you hit this service, this URL. So you have to give your email and password, your account logins. Just sign in. So this is how our Boomi account will be showing up. So this is dashboard, where account how many processes have been executed today. So those type of information will be there in the dashboard. And build, where you will be implementing your process, and deploy, and then manage. So let's just say, for example, I will be creating here, I'll be creating a new project over here. So first I have to create a new folder. So demo_project. So this _project. So Today, now in this project, I will be explaining you how to integrate the data in between the disk to disk. I will be fetching out the data into the Boomi from my local system, the data which is present in my local system, and I will send it to my local system only. So this demo this project. Now I have to create a new component. So for component should be process over here. So name disk to disk process. Control A C create. So I will be using start shape as a node item. So from where my process is being gonna start. So if I want to retrieve or fetch out the data from my local disk and send out the data into the somewhere like some other disk, so I need the data or something that brings out the data into the Boomi, and that's something that sends out the data into the Boomi, out of the Boomi. So what we call it as connector. So here if you see this connector, just drag and drop, and here connector type you have to use. So if you go through this, you will be finding many connector types over here: database, disk, FTP, and Salesforce also we will be having over here. Salesforce, success factors. So there are a lot many connectors are over here in our Boomi. So Salesforce, if you can see, ServiceNow. So we can connect to any applications over here. The maximum we will be having every applications which we are doing. If we do not have any application connector over here, we can use the HTTP client connector so that we can get connected using the HTTP protocol. So now I have chosen this connector, and action is get, because I have to get the data into the Boomi. So I am using get connector, and connection over here. So connection I have to create now. So connection. So I will be giving it as local underscore disconnection. So it is asking for directory. So directory in the sense where the data has been present in your local system. So I will go here and Boomi inputs. I will take a flat file and I will take this directory and just copy this directory, and I have to give it here. Control V. Save and close. So my connection is been ready. So operation. So operation, after going to that directory, which file I have to pick up. So it will be asking our what type of file you have to pick up in the Boomi. So now what I have to do is I have to go there and I want to pick up this file, account file. So I have to change exact match account.txt. So format extensions also we have to give over here. Save and close. So we have different options over here. So we'll be discussing these options in the later classes. So for demo purpose, I am showing you this. So just see if this branch is not connected to this save. So it is in red color. So we have to connect it till it gets into the green color. If it turns into the green color, it indicates that your branch has been successfully connected to the other save. So my input connector is ready, and now I have to check for the output connector because we have to send the data out of the Boomi also. So now I have to set this connector, and now action should be send and connection. Again I have to create the connection. So I have to create the connection where I want to place my output file. So here I will be creating a new. So this is my output directory where I want to place the output of the Boomi here. Save. So operation now. Operation we have to create. So I just giving the naming convention over here. Create if directory does not exist. The directory which I have given in the connection, if it is not there, if you want to create that directory in the local system, you have to check it, or else you can leave it. And there are certain options such as create unique name if file exists, overwrite. So these types of options you will be coming to know. And just for example, I'm using this. So see. So this is now we have created the input connector which will be bringing the data into the Boomi, and here we have created the output connector which will be sending data out of the Boomi. So here we have, if you see the execution shapes, so execution shape will be having the 12 execution shapes which are required for data manipulation. And here are the logic shapes which are required for the data validation. So these shapes are required for the data validation purpose. And you can see the connect. So these connectors are responsible for bringing data into the Boomi and sending data out of the Boomi. So here for data manipulation we will be using the data map shape which is required to manipulate the data, in the sense if you want to convert the input flat file, the input data which is coming as a flat file into the XML, you can use it using you can do it using the map shape. So how we can do that? So I will make it as CSV. We call flat file as CSV, also comma separated value, or we can do it, name it as CSV to XML. So choose input. So how from the input connector my data is coming as a flat file. So I have to keep this map source as a source data which is coming as a flat file. So create a new profile. So what is this profile? Profiles are nothing but the layout of the data which is coming. So flat account underscore flat file profile. So if you go through this Boomi inputs flat file, this the file which I am picking up, add it with Notepad++. If you open this profile, you can see this how the data is there. So these first row are called as fields. We have the fields or elements we call it as. So these fields we have to define the profile in the Boomi. So if you go to the options, use column headers. Column headers in the nothing but these profile elements. So these all are the column headers. So account ID. So these are the records 181. So account ID is 181 for
this one. What is it?
Hindi.
Not Hindi. The dubbed one. I like original only.
Guys, could you please mute it down? So okay. So this is the data which I am fetching out into the Boomi. So I have to define the data into the profile. So use column headers and file delimiter is comma, test qualifier is the double quotes. Save it, and then go to the data elements and press on records. Then you can find the import button. So automatically you can import the file. How you gonna do that? Just account. So it will just pick out the layout of your data, how your data is coming. Just finish. If you see here, account ID, account name, industry, address 1, address 2. So whatever the fields are present here, column headers we call it as, whatever the column headers present over here, you can see over here. So it will not pick up the data, it just pick up the layout of your data. So this is my flat file profile which is coming as in source data. So you can find over here. So now I want to convert this flat file into the XML profile. So now I will create a new XML profile. So you can manually also create. So account underscore XML profile. So save it, and then no thanks, I will create it manually. So we have seen the option of creating using the import button. So now I will create it using manual. So just account ID, account name, industry. So I will name it as account ID, account name, industry, address 1, address 2, and the other one is, you can say, city. So I am taking the few fields only. City. Just save it. Save it. Save it. So now I have to map it so that the data which is coming from the flat file gets into the XML file. Industry. See, just you have to drag and drop address. You just have pick up the address and you have to place it in address 1 till it is that address 1 in the destination profile thing turns into the green. Then you have to drop it. Then address 2. Then address city to city. So we have converted the data from XML CSV to the XML profile. So just now, so data which is coming out of this CSV profile will be in splitted way. So we have to combine each and every record. So just I am using the data document process, and I will be combine the documents, and my output profile is coming from the map is XML. So I have to choose this and account XML. So we'll use into the new file or account ID. So account ID. This is my disk shape. So the output profile which is going out of the Boomi should have some proper name. So to keep that proper name, I will be using the set properties shape. So on the next time you will guys come to know each and every shape if we continue this. So file name, select file name, and I will keep it as account.xml. Okay. So after that, in order to terminate the data flow end of the path, I have to keep the stop shape over here. So this is how I implemented my process. So using these shapes, data manipulation shapes and data validation shapes, I have completely created my process. So now just
Hi Pankaj, Gayatri here.
Yeah, Gayatri.
Hello. Yeah, I have one doubt. Can you please repeat and let me know why did you use the data process in between?
Sorry, Gayatri, actually your voice is breaking.
Okay. Yeah, I just had a question. Can you please repeat the explanation for the data process which we used in between?
Yeah. So let me show you over here. For example, I will keep here the stop shape over here. So let's take the example of data here where if I am not using the data process and save it, and if you test it, so if you go to the data shape over here, the output of the map shape, if you see here in the stop shape, we can find out in the shapes of data. So if you see here, there are number of records are coming in a splitted way. There are number of documents which consist of records. If you open this record, so each is one record. So let's just say I am having a 10 documents over here. So each 20 documents are there and 10 documents consist of 10 records. We go to the data process and we will combine all the records into a single document over here. So that if we place a file of all those documents as a single file, we can place it as a single file in the disk. If you are not combining, each document will be placed as a individual file in the disk process. Gayatri, so you ask this question.
Yes, Pankaj, I got it clear now for me. Thanks for your explanation. I understood.
So, yeah. So, for that purpose, I have to combine all the documents over here so that I can place it as a single file in the disk. So, small correction over here. Yes, I have to add a child element. I will make it as root. So now my project is implemented. So if you see here, I have used connectors and map, data manipulation shapes and all. So if you go to here in the component explorer, we call it as component explorers. So develop this project, the resources which you have been used for implementing this process will be populating here. If you see this, so save it. And now I have to deploy this process. So when this is over, I have implemented and now I have to deploy this process. So after deploying, so how we can deploy this process? So just copy my name, Control C, and go to here and Control V. This to this process. Just attach we need environments. So I'll be using UAT and just deploy latest version of process. It might show other license. Okay, so give me a second. So I have to undeploy some of the process. Now we have to deploy our process. So my process has been deployed. So now I have to manage my process. So item management and then process reporting. So this is our item management. So I have deployed my process in the UAT. So you have to select that item and you have to check whether my process has been deployed or not. So it is deployed. So how you can manage the process? If you want to make it a schedule, schedules in a sense, if you giving here some time, let's just say it should be executed at some time, we can here give the schedule so that it can automatically execute at that time. Or now you can execute it by manually also execute process. So process execution message has been sent. So now we can go to the process reporting page. So just refresh here. So just you can monitor here about the status of your process. So this is time, at what time it was executed, process name, and atom, and which atom it has been executed in our documents. So here logs also, often the logs of your process you can also see over here. So it will be give you the complete description about your process, how it got executed. So if you go through it, you can easily debug your process, and if there are any errors in your process, you can easily debug it. So here, if you click on the timestamp over here, you can find what are your input connectors and what is your output connectors. So just you can see here local get disconnector. So the file, how many files you are getting over here is 1. Just if you just click on it from directory and file name, you can easily find here, and you can see the size of your data also. Okay, so if you want to look at your data, just click on Actions, View Document. If you just click on it, you can find the document which you have been fetched out from the local directory. So this is the data which I am fetching out from the local directory. And if you go to the output per connector over here, so if you see here that I am sending name as account.xml and the directory where I am sending the file, this file. And if you want to check the data which will be in XML format, you just have to click on that data so that you can view that document which you are sending out. So you can see here the data is in the XML format. So the data which is coming into the Boomi was in flat file or .csv format, comma separated value, and this is the output data which is coming out as a XML format, and I am placing this file into my local directory named as this one. So just I will go to that directory and let's check whether the data is present in the output directory or not. So this is my output directory, and you can see this account.type is XML. So everything is fine over here. Just edit with Notepad++, and you can see the data which I have been converting CSV to XML profile. So this is how we build the process, deploy the process, and now we manage the process. So you can see over here also you in the process reporting page. So I think I am clear over here. So if you guys have any doubt, you can ask me now.